We're excited about the challenge and the opportunity that presents itself this week. We're playing an excellent football team in the University of California. Last year they were, I think, one of the most explosive football teams. They scored the 13th most points, I think, in the country. Quarterback's back, receivers are back, running backs are back. I think they only lost 2 guys off their offense, and that was 2 offensive linemen. They struggled some on defense last year, but if the first game is any indication, they're much, much better on defense than they were a year ago. So that makes them a better football team overall. And they scored points. I mean, someone asked me about the points they scored against Grambling. Well, guess what? They scored 60-some points against several people last year. So they scored 60 against another Pac-12 opponent, too. So they can score on anybody. With their defense getting better, it means their teams are much better.
Well, you're on the defensive side there, Rocky, so what do you have in store for them?
Try to keep it low enough that we have a chance to win. But they scored pretty frequently last week and very easily last week, which they do against a lot of people, so I hope that's not us.
Rocky, what do you see specifically that they do so well that allowed them to score so quickly last week?
Number one, they're up-tempo, which means they're trying to snap the ball about every 20 seconds. They never huddle. They run to the line of scrimmage like a lot of spread teams do nowadays, which increases the number. As long as they can get first downs, it dramatically increases the number of snaps they get. So if you get more snaps, obviously you gain more yards and score more points. Probably the thing that is most impressive about them is their quarterback is an accurate a thrower as I've ever seen. He gets rid of the ball quickly. He reads the coverages fairly well. He gets rid of it quickly, and it's right on the money every single time. He never misses an open receiver, which is depressing to a defensive guy because you wish they'd miss an open receiver every once in a while. That would help you. But he's got 3 or 4 outstanding receivers and 2 really good running backs with him. So it makes it really simple why they're scoring all those points.
Rocky, how much better is your offense going to have to play in order to keep up if Cal does score like they usually score?
Well, they're going to have to play much better than they did last week. But our offense is kind of built for games like this. If we can run the ball and get first downs, their offense really has a hard time scoring when they're sitting on the bench. And so if our offense can control the ball and keep it away from them, it allows us to get a little rest on defense, and maybe they won't. I don't know how many snaps they had last week, but usually they have over 100 and 110 snaps in a game, and that's about a third more than most people get. So hopefully our offense can control the ball and get some first downs and keep them off the field as much as possible, and then you have a chance to keep the score down, which gives you a chance to win.
You talked about possibly them being improved on defense. What do you think of their run defense? Did you get to see much of it against?
Well, Grambling,
so far up.
Grambling was a spread team also.
Yeah.
So there were 2 similar offenses out there, and obviously Cal had better players. But we have seen them against running teams in the past. I mean, I spent a lot of time watching them against Stanford, and Stanford's a pretty good running team, or they usually are. And the scheme that they use against running team is very, very similar to what USD ran. Okay? Very similar defensive scheme with better players. So, obviously, we're going to have to execute much better than we did last week.
You said the other day that it wasn't for a lack of effort on the offensive line. What do they need to do better?
I think it's totally technique and fundamentals. Our offensive line tried extremely hard. They were very, very physical at the point of attack, but I'm hoping that it was because they were so excited about playing against somebody else their fundamentals and techniques went right out the window. I mean, they were leading with the wrong foot. They were stepping at the wrong angle. They were placing their hands in the wrong place. And that did not show up the last 2 weeks of practice. So I'm hoping that that excitement of playing the first game is over with and they get down to business and do things technically correct. Because they're talented enough to get it done. They just have to do it the right way. Doesn't matter who you play at this level. It doesn't matter who you play. If you don't do it at the right level, the other guys on the other side of the ball have the advantage.
So the fact that they were doing it at the end of fall camp was evidence that it's some second nature to them, right? That they should be in that mode of.
Well, I hope they weren't doing it at the end of fall camp because they got so familiar with our defense, and they were very confident in what we did on defense, so they were able to do it technically correct. Now, that is the positive sign that we're playing a very similar scheme as we did the first game. Because now, with another week of practice, they ought to be pretty darn familiar with that scheme, too. And now they're going to have to block a lot better players. So hopefully the scheme being the same will help us. And them not being in the offensive line not being in their first game together will help us.
What did you see from your quarterback once you had a chance to look at film and take a couple days to break down his performance?
I saw what I anticipated to see for at least a half on Saturday night. Technique was fine. Pre-snap reads weren't as good as they probably should have been. Inaccurate with the football at times. I mean, Maxwell made some really, really pro-type throws, and then he missed some wide-open guys by 5 yards. So inconsistency. I actually, at the game, I actually thought that's what I would see the first half. And I thought it would be better in the second half. Well, it better be better in the second game.
So it wasn't better necessarily in the second half?
Not necessarily, no.
They got the first game out of the way, so that whatever jitters might have been there are gone, but this will be the first road game. Are there any challenges in particular going on the road for the first time?
I don't think so, because it's right up the road. I think there's some challenges when you fly to Hawaii or you fly back east. I think there's some real challenges with the time changes and those kind of things, but when it's the same time zone, there's no real difference.
Rocky, how big a weapon has Rashad Penny become for your team?
He potentially is a big weapon. I don't think we've used him much to this point. I mean, obviously he did a nice job last year on kickoff returns, and Saturday night he did a nice job on kickoff returns. He's a talented young guy. Now, what you don't realize is that he's on about 3 other special teams too, and played really, really well on the other 3 special teams too, where he actually has to block somebody and run down the field and tackle somebody. Most people don't see that part of his game. We are designing some things to use him on the offensive side of the ball, but he's 3rd string, or he might be 4th string at running back. So you're not going to see that much of him on the offensive side of the ball. Now, if you want to check him out, he's on all those special teams. He does a very nice job on special teams, other than you get to actually see him when he's returning a kickoff. And by the way, those are probably just as important as offense and defense on what you do on special teams. They don't get the credit, but
Your offense had a little different look in the sense that the way you used DJ the other night. I mean, he lined up in the slot quite a bit, brought him in motion, used Chase as the feature back, I think, a little bit more than you guys probably did last year. Is this a sign of things to come, or are we making sure that other teams didn't see everything DJ could do in the first game?
no, I think you saw a very small part of our offense in the first game. But you did see some ideas that we have on offense on getting DJ the ball more often in the open field. And you put him in the slot, and they have to make a choice, which should help us in other parts of the game. They got to make a choice on how they're going to cover them. If they're going to put a linebacker out there and they want to go one-on-one with the linebacker, that's a mistake. If they have to bring a safety out of the middle of the field to come out there and cover them, that puts less guys in the box. The other night, if you want to play zone coverage, puts less guys in the box too. If you want to kind of bracket him, or I mean, that's a term used by commentators. If you want to have an underneath dropper and an outside dropper so that he can catch an out and make a 5-yard gain or a 3-yard gain, you can play it like that, but it also makes it more susceptible to the running game inside. Now, I'm not sure we have another running back that we put out there that would demand that much attention. So if they don't want to give him attention out there, we throw it out there to him, and hopefully he can make some people miss. If they want to spend some time worrying about him out there, which the last team we played did, you throw it out there, it's going to be a 3 or 4 yard gain. But then someone in the backfield ought to have a chance to run the ball a little bit better too.
Were there very many plays, Rocky, in that game where he was out in the slot and Chase got more yardage, you thought, than normal?
Well, sometimes when he goes out in the slot, it's Dakota Gordon that's getting the ball too. And he had a couple of nice runs, and one almost went 70 yards for a touchdown. The guy barely tackled him. So he gets it some too. But then the other tailbacks can be back there too. And they can run zone plays or one-back power plays and stuff. And if you're separating people from the interior of the defense to make sure that DJ's covered out there, those guys have a chance to do some really good things running the ball.
Calvin being the first player in school history to return 2 picks for a touchdown in the same game. Talk a little bit about the effort you saw out of him on a Saturday.
I view those things as great things for the program. When we do something that's never done before, that's really something special. And I'm sure he sees it the same way. I view those things as team awards. There's a reason that he intercepted the passes, because he knows what he's doing and he's a pretty good player and he's got some skills. But pressure in the quarterback's face makes quarterbacks throw it bad sometimes. And now Calvin's pretty good when he carries with the football. He's pretty good, but he can't score touchdowns unless somebody blocks for him. And on the long one that he scored, the second one he scored on the interception, there's some unbelievable blocks out there. In fact, there was 4 guys still laying on the ground after he scored. So Calvin did a nice job of catching it and running with it, but there are some other guys out there that put him in the end zone. But it's always nice when you do something first time ever in a program. That's always nice. That's really nice. We've never beat Cal at Cal either. That'd be really nice too.
Rocky DeMonte had a similarly pretty spectacular game. It's one thing to bat balls down. It's another thing to catch them with interceptions. Mm-hmm. Is that indicative of his kind of step up and his mindset, that he's not just out there looking to bat a ball down?
I think that DeMonte's he gets better every year, and he's a talented kid that has a lot of experience. I think we try to train all our DBs to go after the ball, not just to knock it down, but to intercept it. Unless you have a club on your hand, then hopefully you can knock it down. I think the mindset of all the DBs is to intercept passes. And we're lucky right now that we have mostly experienced DBs that actually know their assignments and where they fit, so they can actually be a little more aggressive to the ball.
He had a pretty rough start with all the PIs early in the season last year. Did you see him kind of take that as almost a challenge and step up?
I don't know. I think that, and I'm speaking for him because I don't know what DeMonte thinks. I'm guessing that he decided, because you can see it, he decided that he would refine his techniques so he could get away doing the same thing without being caught. The best DBs in the world are that way. In the NFL, they're that way too. So I think he spent some time and effort to refine his techniques.
Nice phrasing.
Well, I mean, it's the same thing as offense picking you, too. The offense calls that a rub. The defense calls it illegal and a pick. But if you rub really well, they don't call it. If you pick poorly, they call it. I mean, it's the same.
Other than the change in personnel, do you have to change your defense secondary at all without Trey Lomax for a month or so? Or you can just run the same thing?
No, we're going to run the same stuff. You lose some experience by him not being able to play. But we have, you saw Kendrick Mathis play Saturday night. I mean, he's played quite a bit. Cam Kelly will play this week. Cam Kelly will start in that position this week. And he's a talented athlete, but he hasn't played very much, so there'll be an experience drop-off there. But he's taller and faster, so I don't know if that makes up for the experience factor or not.
Rocky, you guys played Oregon State last year. You got Cal this year. Now we're going to get into this run in the next few years of a lot of Pac-12.
I think that's the best thing we've done with our schedule. I see that as a plus. I mean, that we play people close to home. We've got them home and home, so we get them at home. So we get a payday, and it's a home game instead of flying all the way across the country for a payday. I think that's the best thing we've done with our schedule. It's too bad it takes so long to get them scheduled. I'd like to have done it already.
And how about the challenge of the program stepping up to win these games?
That's a huge challenge. All you got to do is do it once, and then it happens all the time. We just haven't done it once yet. I mean, we beat them at home, but we haven't beat them on the road. We'll get it done sooner or later. I'd like it to be sooner than later, but we're going to get it done sooner or later. And have personal experience about this. After you do it once, it happens a whole lot more than it did before. I mean, it's just, and I don't know if it's subconscious or not. It probably is, but you got to either break through and get lucky and win one of them, and then all of a sudden it starts happening. And we'll do it sooner or later. I wish it happened pretty darn quick, but we'll do it sooner or later.